Did you know that two homes can stand side by side on the same street? Same income, same hardworking families. Yet one seems to draw peace, flow, and financial abundance, while the other stays locked in the same struggle year after year? According to ancient traditions practiced across Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Americas, the difference may begin not with what is in the bank account, but with what is growing near the entrance of the home. Because in these traditions, plants were never simply decoration. They were understood as living energy. Some were placed near gates and thresholds to attract wealth, good fortune, and protection. Others, left in the wrong place or allowed to wither without attention, were said to quietly close the doors that prosperity moves through. Today, you are about to discover 20 powerful plants long associated with abundance, positive energy, and good fortune across the world's oldest traditions. Some protect the home from the energy that repels wealth. Some symbolize financial growth so specifically that families have passed them from generation to generation as living inheritances. And one plant near the end of this list has a story of origin so perfectly aligned with what it represents that when you hear it, you will understand immediately why it sits at number one. But the most important thing most people never learn is this: placement. According to these traditions, where you put these plants may matter just as much as the plants themselves. We will cover both. Before we begin, type this in the comments right now. My home is open. Fortune is welcome here, and now let us begin. Number 20. Aloe vera. The silent cleanser that ancient traditions across multiple cultures understood as a sponge for the heavy, stagnant energy that blocks abundance from entering a home. The thick, water-filled leaves of aloe vera are believed in the five elements tradition to hold life force, storing vitality not just for the plant itself, but for the space around it. Where worry has lived long in a room, where financial stress has settled into the walls, aloe vera is said to draw that energy in and neutralize it. It leans toward the wood and fire elements, making it especially powerful for people who feel energetically blocked or emotionally stuck. Place it in the east or northeast direction of your home near a window where morning light can reach it. Do not overwater it. This is critical. An overwatered aloe goes limp and soggy. In spiritual terms, that signals a home losing its vitality rather than building it. Keep the leaves firm and upright. That firmness is the plant telling you it is working. The activation secret: once a month, wipe its leaves gently with clean water and speak one intention aloud. What you want to clear, what you want to call in. Number 19 carries a scent that three civilizations, Arabian, Indian, and Mediterranean, independently recognized as the fragrance of incoming abundance. A flower so associated with prosperity that it appears on wedding altars and in the entryways of homes, welcoming new fortune across cultures that never met. Number 19. Jasmine. The flower whose scent has been described in Arabic, Sanskrit, and Greek traditions alike as the breath of fortune arriving at your door. In Islamic tradition, jasmine is associated with paradise, a plant whose fragrance carries a blessing simply by being present. In Hindu culture, jasmine garlands are offered to Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, because the scent is believed to signal abundance to the divine. In Mediterranean folk tradition, jasmine near the entrance of a home was planted specifically to welcome the energy of good fortune before it could pass by. What these three traditions understood intuitively is something modern research has now confirmed separately. Jasmine's scent affects the limbic system, the brain region governing emotion and memory, producing measurable reductions in anxiety and increases in positive emotional state. A home that smells like jasmine carries a different energy from one that does not. The activation secret: let jasmine bloom near your front entrance or bedroom window. On the first evening of each new moon, breathe the fragrance intentionally and hold one financial intention clearly in your mind. The moon and the scent together, in this tradition, amplify what you are calling in. In the ancient world, this flower was not grown in gardens. It was grown in imperial courts. Emperors paid for it in gold. Poets wrote of it as the embodiment of heaven on earth. Peony, called in Chinese tradition the flower of riches and honor, the only flower considered worthy enough to represent both wealth and nobility simultaneously for over 2,000 years. Paeonia lactiflora has been cultivated in China since at least the 7th century as a symbol of wealth, good fortune, and high social standing. In the Tang dynasty, peony cultivation became an imperial preoccupation. Gardens dedicated entirely to it surrounded the palace. The flowers full, layered petals were understood as a visual representation of abundance itself. Layer upon layer, nothing held back, everything given fully. In feng shui, red and pink peonies placed in the living room activate what practitioners call the Ming Tang, the bright hall of prosperity directly inside the main entrance. Pink peonies specifically attract the energy of relationship luck, which in Chinese tradition includes the network of beneficial people and opportunities that financial success depends on. The activation secret: never keep artificial peonies. In this tradition, a silk peony in the wealth corner carries the energy of something beautiful that is no longer alive, which signals to the flow of abundance that this is not a living, receiving home. Fresh or nothing. Number 17 is a plant that crossed oceans in the hands of merchants. Every major trade route in human history passed through regions where this plant grew, and where it grew, wealth followed. Traders in ancient Rome, Arabia, and China understood its presence as a signal that commerce was alive and flowing. Number 17. Cinnamon, the spice that built empires, that made men wealthy beyond measure for 1,000 years, and that folk traditions across 3 continents associate with the activation of financial flow when kept as a living plant in a home or business. Cinnamomum verum was once so valuable that wars were fought over its trade routes. Arab merchants kept its origin secret for centuries to maintain a monopoly. In Brazilian spiritual tradition, cinnamon powder is blown through the front door on the first day of each month to attract abundance, a practice derived from its association with commercial wealth that traveled with the spice trade. In feng shui, a cinnamon plant near the front entrance activates the energy of incoming flow. The warm, sweet scent tells the unconscious mind that warmth, nourishment, and richness are present. Modern research confirms cinnamon scent enhances cognitive performance, particularly in attention and working memory, the faculties most associated with sound financial decision-making. The activation secret: brew a cup of cinnamon tea on the first morning of each new month. Hold it in both hands. Speak your financial intention into the warmth of the cup before you drink it. Number 16. Rosemary, the plant that ancient Greeks, Romans, and medieval Europeans all independently identified as the herb of remembrance, protection, and the mental clarity that makes wise decisions about money possible. Rosmarinus officinalis was grown at the entrance of homes in ancient Rome, specifically to protect the household from outside interference, envy, and ill will. The Romans understood intuitively that protection and prosperity are inseparable. A home that cannot protect what it has cannot accumulate more. In medieval European tradition, rosemary was burned in the rooms where important decisions were made, to clear confusion and invite clarity. The connection to financial wisdom is direct. A mind working in fog makes poor decisions. A mind working with clarity builds wealth. The Greek scholars who wore rosemary garlands during examinations knew something that modern neuroscience has since confirmed. The volatile compound 1,8-cineol in rosemary crosses the blood-brain barrier via inhalation and produces measurable improvements in cognitive performance. In spiritual terms, rosemary near your entrance protects what you have and sharpens the mind that grows it. The activation secret: cut a fresh sprig of rosemary and place it above your front door on the first day of each month. As the sprig dries, it is said to absorb whatever comes through that door that is not aligned with the household's highest good. Before we continue, if you are finding this meaningful and want to go deeper into the wisdom of sacred plants, I have put together 3 complete guides covering how to grow, prepare, and use powerful medicinal and spiritual plants at home. A step-by-step beginner's guide, 30 preparation protocols, and a complete home apothecary system. Everything is in the first pinned comment below whenever you feel ready. Now let us keep going, because the next plants are the ones this tradition considers the most powerful of all. Number 15. Chrysanthemum, the flower that chooses to bloom when every other plant has gone quiet, and that Chinese tradition for over 2,000 years has understood as the living symbol of fortune that does not wait for perfect conditions to arrive. The chrysanthemum blooms in autumn, the season when most plants retreat. In Chinese tradition, a plant that gives when others withhold carries rare and persistent energy. That quality of unconditional generosity is exactly what makes it a magnet for abundance in this worldview. It reflects back the energy of giving freely, which is considered the foundational movement that begins the flow of receiving. Yellow and gold chrysanthemums are considered the most powerful for wealth energy, as these colors align with the earth element and the frequency of financial flow. Place them in the south or southwest corner of your living room. Science adds its own note. Chrysanthemums are among the most effective plants for removing benzene and formaldehyde from indoor air. A home with cleaner air is a home where the mind is sharper, sleep is deeper, and decisions are made from clarity rather than fog. The activation secret: replace wilted chrysanthemums immediately. A dying flower left in a wealth corner is, in the language of this tradition, a door left open for misfortune to walk through. Number 14. The name alone tells you something. In almost every culture that grows this plant, the name given to it points toward the same energy: the clearing of conflict, the dissolving of what blocks, and the restoration of balance after loss. Number 14. Peace lily. Not a plant of accumulation, but the plant that removes the energetic conditions that block prosperity from ever fully settling into a home. The peace lily is not believed to pull money in directly. What it does is more foundational. It absorbs the resentment, guilt, and the low, heavy vibration that settles into a home after prolonged financial stress. The invisible weight that makes every effort feel harder than it should be. In feng shui, it is placed in the bedroom or living room, in the north or east direction, aligned with the energy of new beginnings and forward movement. NASA's Clean Air Study identified the peace lily as one of the most effective plants for removing airborne toxins, including ammonia, benzene, and trichloroethylene. A cleaner space carries a higher vibration, and a higher vibration is where wealth energy settles most comfortably. The activation secret: place a single small white stone at the base of your peace lily. White represents clarity and incoming energy. The stone grounds the plant's clearing power and keeps it working through the night. Number 13 has been called a living altar. In the tradition that gave it its deepest significance, this plant is not separate from the divine. It is the divine, given roots and leaves and the need for daily water. Number 13. Holy basil, Tulsi, the earthly dwelling of goddess Lakshmi, the divine force of wealth and prosperity, tended at the center of Indian homes for over 5,000 years as a living act of worship. In Hinduism, Tulsi is understood as a deity in plant form, the embodiment of Lakshmi herself. For thousands of years, Indian families have kept it at the center of the home, offering water at dawn, lighting lamps beside it on Thursday evenings. The belief is this: where Tulsi thrives, Lakshmi dwells. And where Lakshmi dwells, the household is protected from poverty, discord, and misfortune. Beyond its sacred identity, Tulsi is documented as one of the most powerful adaptogenic herbs known to science, helping the body manage stress, lowering cortisol, improving sleep, and sharpening decision-making. A household of people whose stress response is regulated makes better financial decisions, recovers more quickly from setbacks, and moves through challenges with more clarity. Place it in the east direction near a window where morning sunlight reaches it first. The activation secret: on Thursday specifically, light a small oil lamp beside it. Thursday is the day of Jupiter, the planet of abundance and expansion in Vedic astrology. This practice has been carried in families for centuries. There is a reason it survived every generation. Its thick, waxy, deep green leaves look almost polished, as if the plant is holding something precious just beneath the surface and refuses to let it dull. The ZZ plant, understood in Chinese energetic tradition as a vessel of stored wealth energy, its glossy leaves signaling that it is actively holding something the household needs. Zamioculcas zamiifolia. In the 8-mansion system of Feng Shui, the southeast direction governs the Zun trigram, the area of wealth, assets, and sustainable financial growth. Place your ZZ plant here, and according to this tradition, you are connecting a living energy source directly into your home's wealth circuit. The warning that comes with this plant is specific and serious. Never let it droop. Never allow the leaves to go dull or yellow without addressing it immediately. A wilting ZZ plant sitting in the wealth corner is, in the language of this tradition, a symbol of leaking fortune. The ZZ plant is also one of the most scientifically documented air purifiers for modern environments, removing xylene, toluene, and benzene released continuously by furniture and paint. The activation secret: place a small piece of citrine crystal beside the base of your ZZ plant. Citrine is known as the stone of abundance. The combination of the plant's deep earth energy and the crystal's light frequency is considered one of the most potent wealth activations you can create in any home. Number 11. I told you at the beginning of this video that one plant on this list is believed by 3 completely separate cultures, with no historical contact between them, to literally stand guard against financial loss at the entrance of a home. This is that plant. Number 11. Snake plant, named among the 8 plants of good fortune in Chinese feng shui, placed as a doorway guardian in West African spiritual practice, and called Espada de São Jorge, the Sword of St. George, in Brazilian folk tradition. 3 cultures, 3 continents, 1 placement, 1 purpose. In Chinese feng shui, the snake plant absorbs negative energy and prevents financial sha, the harmful energy that disrupts the flow of money into a household. In West African spiritual practice, its upright sword-like leaves are understood as weapons facing outward, keeping what threatens the household at bay. In Brazil, it is one of the most common protection plants found in homes, businesses, and market stalls, placed at entrances specifically to prevent envy, ill will, and financial interference from entering from outside. 3 traditions, same plant, same placement, same purpose. Position it near the main entrance of your home, slightly to the left or right of the doorway rather than directly in the door's path. The activation secret: tie a thin red ribbon around the base of your snake plant. Red activates young energy, transforming a passive protector into an active one. Number 10 is a plant that cannot be killed. Even in low light, even when neglected, even when it appears to have nothing left, it keeps growing. And in the spiritual traditions of Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands, that quality carries a very specific name. Number 10. Pothos, called devil's ivy, not for anything sinister, but for this single remarkable fact: it refuses to die. And in spiritual tradition, a plant that cannot be stopped carries the energy of abundance that cannot be permanently blocked. In feng shui, the trailing vines of pothos are understood as a continuous flow, a river of energy moving through a space. Place it high on a shelf or in a hanging planter in the living room or home office, so the vines can cascade downward. That downward trail symbolizes wealth flowing into the home from above. The east or southeast corner is ideal. Pothos is also rated among the most effective plants for reducing formaldehyde levels in enclosed spaces, one of the most common indoor air pollutants released silently by furniture and flooring. The activation secret: as your pothos vines grow, do not cut them back unless they are dying. Each new leaf is considered an extension of the wealth energy flowing towards you. Let it grow without interruption. Length in this tradition is a measure of abundance already in motion. Number 9 has bold, dark, wide leaves that do more than fill a room. In feng shui, they collect something. And what they collect is exactly what this plant has always been placed to gather. Number 9. Rubber plant. A wealth collector, its broad, waxy leaves understood in feng shui as a wide net drawing in, and holding prosperity energy the way a wide surface catches more than a narrow one. Ficus elastica, with its bold, dark leaves and solid, upright presence, is considered one of the most effective plants for activating the wealth point, the corner diagonally opposite your front door. Stand at your entrance and look toward the far left corner of the room ahead of you. That corner is your wealth point. Place your rubber plant there. The shinier the leaves, the stronger the energy. Dust settles on broad leaves and dulls them. Dusty leaves on a wealth plant are considered a sign of blocked financial energy. Wipe the leaves regularly with a clean, damp cloth. Water only, no chemicals. This keeps both the energy and the plant clear. Science confirms that the rubber plant is one of the most efficient large-leaf air purifiers available, particularly effective in rooms with limited airflow where stagnant air accumulates. The activation secret: place your rubber plant in a red or gold pot. These are the colors of wealth activation. The container your plant lives in is considered part of its energetic identity, not just its home, but its amplifier. Number 8 is the plant whose round, plump leaves are shaped like coins. In a tradition where symbols carry the weight of intention, there is no accident in that shape. Number 8, jade plant. The money plant, the friendship tree, the lucky plant. 3 names across Chinese culture, all pointing toward the same energy. Crassula ovata. Its round, plump leaves are shaped like coins, and in Eastern symbolism, the circle represents heaven, the celestial flow of divine support and provision. A plant shaped like coins placed with intention becomes a living symbol of the abundance you are calling into your home. There is a story, old and told in many forms, about an who kept a single jade plant near the corner of his table, close to the front door. Every morning he touched its leaves before he left the house. Not as ritual exactly, more as affection. Years passed and quietly, without drama, his circumstances began to shift. Whether the plant caused that change or simply witnessed it, the story reflects something true about how this tradition works. When you tend to something living with consistent care and genuine intention, something inside you shifts. And when something inside you shifts, your circumstances follow. The activation secret: never accept a jade plant purchased by someone else unless it was given freely and with love. Grow your own from a cutting or receive it as a true gift. Number 7 has been growing in temple gardens, palace courtyards, and the doorways of prosperous households for longer than most civilizations have existed. In 3 separate sacred traditions, it is not a plant at all. It is a residence. Number 7. Bay laurel, the crown of victors in ancient Rome, the sacred tree of Apollo in Greece, the plant that medieval European tradition placed above doors to invite divine blessing and protect prosperity already present in the home. Laurus nobilis was the plant woven into the wreaths placed on the heads of Roman emperors, Olympic champions, and victorious generals. Because in Roman spiritual understanding, laurel carried the energy of deserved triumph. To be crowned in laurel was to have your victory recognized by the divine. In Greek tradition, bay laurel was sacred to Apollo, the god of clarity, light, and the fulfillment of human potential. The oracle at Delphi burned bay leaves to induce prophetic vision. The practice of writing intentions on bay leaves and burning them, widely used today in manifestation practices across cultures, has roots in this ancient understanding of the plant as a bridge between human intention and divine fulfillment. Place a living bay laurel near your entrance or in your kitchen. Write a financial intention on a dried bay leaf. Burn it with purpose. The activation secret: a bay laurel that you cook with regularly is one that is constantly being asked to give. A plant that gives continuously is a plant that draws abundance to replenish itself. Number 6 has 3 stalks, 5 stalks, or 6 stalks. And in this tradition, each number matters with extraordinary precision. Number 6. Lucky bamboo, a living concentrator of qi, passed between generations like an inheritance. Its number of stalks determining exactly what kind of fortune it calls toward the home. In Chinese tradition, lucky bamboo is one of the most powerful energy plants known. Families who cultivate it with real intention do not discard it when they move. They take cuttings and give them to children entering their first home, to newlyweds beginning a life together, to anyone standing at the start of a new chapter. The cutting carries the energy of the original plant, and with it, the accumulated intention of every person who tended it before. 3 stalks represent the 3 pillars: happiness, wealth, and longevity. 5 stalks activate all 5 areas of life simultaneously. 6 stalks are considered particularly auspicious for financial growth. Place your lucky bamboo in a clear glass vase with clean water and white stones at the base. Tie a red ribbon around the stalks. Place it in the east or southeast direction. The activation secret: change the water every 7 to 10 days, and each time you do, speak a fresh intention. The plant is a living vessel. What you pour into it, including your words, is part of what it carries. Number 5. Its deep reds, rich pinks, and layered greens do not happen by accident. In Chinese energetic tradition, those red tones carry fire, the element of forward movement, life force, and financial activation. Number 5. Aglaonema, the Chinese evergreen, placed in living rooms, on work desks, and on home altars wherever energy needs to be activated rather than simply maintained. In Chinese tradition, the aglaonema is placed wherever the energy of a space needs to move rather than rest. On a home altar, it takes on a sacred quality, a living offering of beauty to the ancestors, who are in turn believed to direct their blessings toward the family's ongoing fortune. What makes it practically remarkable is this: it thrives in low light. Most high-energy spiritual plants demand direct sun. The aglaonema asks for very little and gives back abundantly, a quality that mirrors the kind of prosperity that arrives without noise and stays without conditions. Place it in the southeast or east direction. The activation secret: Place a small dish of fresh fruit near your aglaonema. In multiple Southeast Asian traditions, fresh fruit beside a living plant activates the energy of ongoing nourishment and sustained increase. Something simple, replenished regularly is all this tradition asks. Number 4. A tree that appears in the entrance of nearly every prosperous Chinese business you have ever walked into. A tree whose braided trunk is not an aesthetic choice. Each strand of the braid represents a different stream of wealth, woven together and held in place. Number 4. The money tree. The plant whose story of origin is so perfectly aligned with what it represents that it has become the most recognized prosperity symbol in feng shui worldwide. The story comes from Taiwan. A poor farmer deep in financial hardship found a small, unusual tree growing alone in a field. He took it home. He tended it with the care of someone who had very little left to give, but gave it anyway. As the tree grew, something in his circumstances began quietly, gradually, to shift. He eventually propagated it, made new plants from the original one, and sold them. From that single tree found in a field, his entire financial life was restored. That plant is Pachira aquatica. In feng shui, it is placed in the southeast wealth corner of the home. Always the braided trunk, 5 strands woven together, representing the 5 elements in perfect balance. Wood, water, fire, earth, and metal. All present, all harmonized, all working together. Place it in indirect light, water it moderately, never allow it to sit in standing water. The activation secret. Place 6 coins at the base of your money tree pot. 6 is the number associated with incoming wealth in Chinese numerology. The coins signal the specific intention you are setting. The tree, as it always has, does the rest. Number 3. Number 2. Number 1. These are the plants this tradition considers the deepest, the oldest, and the most powerful. Starting with number 3, the plant that medieval healers, Roman soldiers, and Ayurvedic physicians all arrived at independently for different reasons, but with the same conclusion. This plant changes what is possible in a space. Number 3. Lemongrass. The plant that Southeast Asian, West African, and Brazilian spiritual traditions all place near the entrance of a home and business to attract positive energy, clear negative vibrations, and open the pathways that prosperity moves through. Cymbopogon citratus is one of the most widely used spiritual cleansing plants in the world. In Brazilian candomblé and umbanda traditions, lemongrass is used in floor washes and space-clearing rituals specifically to open the spiritual pathways for abundance and remove the energetic debris of difficulty, conflict, and stagnation. In Southeast Asian homes, it is planted near entrances because its bright citrus scent drives away negative vibrations before they can enter the household. In West African tradition, it appears in the protective plant combinations placed at doorways at new beginnings. 3 traditions, 3 continents, same placement, same purpose. Modern research adds its own layer. Lemongrass volatile oils have documented anxiolytic effects, reducing cortisol and improving emotional state in the people who breathe them. The activation secret: boil fresh lemongrass leaves in water and use the cooled liquid to wash your front doorstep on the first day of each new month. This practice appears in multiple spiritual traditions across cultures that never met each other. Number 2. Orchid, the flower that Chinese imperial tradition reserved for royalty, that Confucius called the king of fragrant plants, and that feng shui places in the home to activate the energy of rare, sustained, and growing fortune. Orchidaceae has been cultivated in China for over 3,000 years, not for its beauty alone, but for what its beauty represents: perfection achieved through patient cultivation. In Confucian philosophy, the orchid is one of the 4 gentleman plants, each representing a virtue that leads to noble character and consequently to honored, prosperous life. The orchid's virtue is refinement, the ability to maintain integrity and fragrance even in difficult conditions. In Feng Shui, white and yellow orchids in the living room activate the energy of incoming fortune. Pink orchids activate the beneficial relationship network, the people through whom opportunity travels. Orchids also release moisture into the air at night, making them suitable for bedrooms. The activation secret: when your orchid finishes blooming, do not discard it. Cut the spike just above the 2nd node from the base. The willingness to tend what is given and wait for it to give again is itself an act of faith that abundance responds to. The plant almost always blooms again. And now, Number 1. The plant I saved for the end because everything about it, its history, its symbolism, its presence in the homes of people who have built lasting wealth across every culture that has known it, points toward the same truth. That abundance is not something you chase, it is something you cultivate. Number 1. The jade plant revisited? No. Number 1 is the plant that grandmothers carried across oceans. That sits on altars before it sits on windowsills. That has a different name in every language and the same meaning in all of them. The place where this grows is a place where life is tended with love. And in every tradition that has ever watched a family build wealth slowly, quietly, and with intention, that is where abundance always begins. Holy basil, or tulsi, he sits at number 1, not because it is the most dramatic plant on this list, but because it is the most complete. It protects, it clears, it attracts, it heals the people tending it. It reduces the stress that clouds financial judgment. It is the plant that, in the oldest living spiritual tradition on earth, is placed at the center of the home. Not the entrance, not the corner, but the center. Because it is understood as the axis around which a blessed household turns. To tend tulsi daily is to practice the foundational act of all wealth building. Consistent attention to something living, given freely, without expectation of immediate return. The activation secret: tend it every morning, even if only for 1 minute. Water it, speak to it. Light a lamp beside it on Thursdays. These small, consistent acts are not superstition. They are the practice of a person who understands that wealth is not an event. It is a relationship. And like all relationships, it grows in the direction of the attention you give it. Before I close, for anyone who watched all the way through this video, the complete practical guide to growing, preparing, and using sacred and medicinal plants like these is in the first pinned comment below, including preparation methods, the healing traditions behind each plant, and how to incorporate them into daily life. Use the code FULLVIDEO at checkout for 20% off. The link is in the pinned comment whenever you are ready. 20 plants, 20 living guardians. Each one carrying a wisdom that survived generations because, in some essential way, it works. Not always in the ways we expect, but in the ways that matter most, in the quality of the air we breathe, in the clarity of the mind that makes decisions, in the emotional environment of a home where people feel protected, calm, and open to what is coming. The garden you tend is a conversation with the world around you. Every plant you choose, every placement you make with intention, is a signal you are sending that you are ready, that your home is open, that abundance is welcome here. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Share this with someone whose home could use a little more flow. And tell me in the comments, which of these 20 plants is already in your home? Which one are you bringing in first? I read every comment. I will see you in the next one.